Hello and welcome to today's match from the 2022 Okaloosa High School Academic Tournament. This year we have 6 schools from Okaloosa County going head-to-head in a double elimination tournament format. These standout students will be answering questions on science, math, history, fine arts and literature, pop culture, and more to determine our tournament champion for 2022. I'm David Honsinger, your host and moderator. Lisa Knoll will be our timekeeper and scorekeeper, while Nathan Cook and Stella Verswijveld will serve as our chief judges and make all the final decisions on all things official. Nathan Cook is a chief test engineer at the 40th Test Flight Squadron. Mr. Cook is a test pilot school graduate flight test engineer with degrees in physics, education, engineering, and analytics. He is a California native and has lived in Okaloosa County for almost 9 years. Stella Verswijveld is a contracts management flight chief. With an academic background in mathematics and engineering, Ms. Verswijveld has had a 35-year career at Eglin Air Force Base, primarily in the test and evaluation of weapon systems. She is currently a supervisor of a team of 24 people in the 96 Test Wing Range Group and focuses on engineering management. Today's teams are from Choctaw High School and Niceville High School. We'll take a quick break to hear from some of our Okaloosa County schools. When we come back, and we'll meet our teams.
I chose to come to collegiate high school because you get free college and your high school diploma at the same time, and that's the best opportunity for any high school student.
I wanted to grow as an individual, and so I decided to move here to not be grouped into these different categories that you'd find in like traditional high schools.
I came to collegiate because I wanted to get used to college work and just being in a college environment before I actually move on to a bigger university.
The thing that makes Collegiate High different from other schools in Okaloosa County is that we're a small school. Students that attend the Collegiate High School are not just a number. We know students by name because of the small school atmosphere.
So what's great about this school is that all the faculty are here to help you.
They want them to excel in their academic life and personal life.
At the other schools, I felt like I wasn't quite being challenged enough in all the fields, but here it's like, you have teachers that teach you well, and they teach you what's going to be applied in the future.
Many students think that if you go to collegiate, you can't play sports, you can't be in music, you can't be a high school student, but I still went to homecoming. I still went to the football games, I had fun with all my friends, and collegiate doesn't take that away from you. It adds on to your amazing personality.
In order to be successful at Collegiate High School, motivation, student motivation. You have to be academically motivated because you'll be academically challenged.
But when you go to a university, they'll see that you're dedicated and you're willing to take the course load that you'll be taking.
Let's say if you come one thought. This thought is that you are unstoppable. Because if you come here thinking, there's going to be too much work, there will be. It's not an easy school, it's a tough school. But you're going to come, and if you come thinking that nothing will stop, you will be successful, and you will be a college student.
Welcome back. Let's go ahead and meet our teams. First, under the coaching of Elizabeth Hone, Choctaw High School.
Derek Meacham, senior.
Isabella Negrone, junior.
Sophie Negrone, freshman. Trinity Overturf, freshman.
Their opponents today from Niceville High School under the coaching of Justin Reichard.
John Cathell, senior.
Kendall Small, junior.
Ryder Hansen, senior.
Vivian Price, junior.
Now that we've met everybody, let's go ahead and get started with today's match. We'll start with the first toss-up question, which is in a miscellaneous category. In 2021, this group's 40-year-old album of greatest hits unexpectedly reached #1 on iTunes. That album's songs include bass player John Deacon's tunes You're My Best Friend and another one, Bites the Dust.
Queen.
Queen is the correct answer. Your bonuses are math questions. Using pi as needed, give the volume of these shapes. A rectangular prism, 3 inches by 6 inches by 9 inches.
252.
162.
Okay, 162.
Judges? We will accept that. 162 cubic inches is what we're looking for. And a right circular cone with base 12 pi square feet and height 8 feet.
I think it's 1/3. third base times height. So that would be 32. 32 cubic meters.
Time.
Okay, the answer you didn't get out in time was 32 pi cubic feet. The next toss-up question is a social studies question. She is credited with the original furnishing of the White House, as well as being the first to host bipartisan gatherings of Washington friends and politicians. Name this first lady.
Dolly Madison.
Dolly Madison is the correct answer. Your bonuses are in science. Name these chemical elements often included in multivitamins. Found in laxatives and antacids, its melting and boiling points are the lowest of all alkaline earth metals.
An idiot. I don't know.
Time.
The answer is magnesium. And this metalloid, named for the moon, adds a red color to glass and, when combined with sulfur, is found in dandruff shampoo.
Time.
The answer is selenium. The next toss-up is a math question. Pencils and paper ready. Simplify the fraction whose numerator is x to the 7th times x to the 4th, and whose denominator is x to the 5th quantity cubed.
X to the 11th over X to the 15th.
That's acceptable, but not simplified. X to the negative 4th, but acceptable. Your toss-ups are social studies. Identify the U.S. constitutional amendment that, 1, requires government to pay property owners if taking their land by eminent domain.
Okay, well, eminent domain, which one was that?
Is it 6?
No, it's not the first time. 13th.
Fifth Amendment.
Okay, my bad.
And 2, created a prohibition era for more than a decade.
18th.
18th is the correct answer. The next toss-up is a science question. When combined with potassium, this element is given to people who have been severely exposed to radiation. Named from Greek for the purple cloud it can create, this element is needed to prevent the thyroid condition called goiter.
Iodine?
Iodine is the correct answer. Your bonuses are on literature. Complete these quotes attributed to Confucius. Some answers may require more than one word. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and this.
I learn.
I think so.
That sounds good. I learn.
I understand.
Oh, close.
Act with kindness, but do not expect this.
Kindness.
Great gratitude or something.
Okay. Go.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Gratitude is the correct answer. The next toss-up is a literature question. This character is described as a huge old woman with the small, shrewd eyes of an elephant, who was shining black, pure African, and the terror of the other house servants. Played on screen by Hattie McDaniel, who won an Oscar for the role. What character was devoted to her last drop of blood to the O'Haras in the classic novel Gone with the Wind?
Time.
The answer is Mammy. The next toss-up is a fine arts question. At a 2021 exhibition at the Stockbridge, Massachusetts Museum featuring this artist shows his paintings used in advertisements for Ford Motor Company and Del Monte Foods, while another exhibition features his 1960s civil rights paintings like Murder in Mississippi and The Problem We All Live With. Name this all-American artist who created more than 300 cover illustrations for the Saturday Evening Post.
Time.
The answer is Norman Rockwell. Next toss-up question is a math question. Pencils and paper ready. Find the larger of two supplementary angles if the measure of the larger is 4 degrees greater than 3 times the measure of the smaller.
Time.
The answer is 136 degrees. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. The south central area of this state governed by Kate Brown, had more than 600 square miles of it burn in 2021 from its bootleg fire, not far from the Upper Klamath Lake. Name this state whose Baker and Sherman counties were among those voting in 2021 to try and secede and become part of neighboring Idaho instead.
Oregon.
Oregon's the correct answer. Your bonuses are math. Answer these from statistics. This two-word adjective phrase describes two things that are independent and/or can't happen at the same time, such as seeing heads and tails on a flipped coin.
Mutually exclusive.
Mutually exclusive is the correct answer. In a normal distribution, 68% of points are within one standard deviation of the mean, and this percentage of points is within two standard deviations.
92, I think.
I think it's 95.
I think it's 95.
95.
95 is correct. The next toss-up is a science question. If this part of your body swells up while you have type B HIB, the result can be deadly, as this body part lets air into your lungs. Name this flap of cartilage behind your tongue but in front of your larynx that folds backward to cover the front of your windpipe when you're eating so you don't choke.
The trachea?
That's incorrect. Nice one.
Uvula.
No, it is the epiglottis. Our next toss-up is a language arts question. In logic, this term consists of two parts: the initial set of assertions, called premises, and the logical result of those assertions, called a conclusion. Give this 8-letter term that can also mean an unpleasant disagreement where two people raise their voices.
Argument.
Argument is the correct answer. Your bonuses are fine arts. Answer these about operas by Verdi. This one tells of the doomed love of Alfredo and its title character, Violetta.
Time.
Answer is La Traviata. And this opera, set in Egypt, was first performed there in 1871.
Time.
The answer is Aida. Our next toss-up is a math question. Pencils and paper ready. The top row of matrix A is 3 and 6, while its bottom row is 2 and -5. The top row of matrix B is 4 and -8, while its bottom row is -1 and 7. Give the four elements in the order top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right of the matrix that is the product of matrices A and B.
12, -48, -2, -35.
That is incorrect.
Time.
The answer is 6, 18, 13, and -51. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. The first of these conflicts, fought between 1839 and 1842, predated the second conflict by some 20 years. Yet the result of both was the same: humiliating defeats for China. Give the common term.
Opium War.
Opium War is correct. Your bonuses are miscellaneous. Name these rock singers or bands who are on tour in 2022. Now in his mid-70s, this British singer says his farewell Yellow Brick Road tour will be his last.
Elton John.
Elton John is correct. 14 years after its last studio album, Chinese Democracy, this band still includes backup singer Duff McKagan and lead guitarist Slash.
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses is correct.
Time.
Well, that's the end of the first half. We'll take a moment to tot up the scores, and we'll be back after these brief messages. Welcome back. We have a halftime score of Choctaw, 20 points. Niceville High School, 120 points. We have one substitution for Niceville. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
I'm Sasha Nunez, and I'm a senior.
So let's go ahead with the second half of today's match. Toss-up number 13 is a literature question. In 2021, Hobby Lobby paid over $1 million for a tablet containing part of this literary work, a tablet seized by the federal government to return to its native Iraq. Name this Mesopotamian work that tells of an ancient king of Sumeria.
The Epic of Gilgamesh.
That is the correct answer. Your bonuses are social studies questions. Answer these about events in the year 1922. The memorial to this president was dedicated, which features a Daniel Chester French sculpture of that president that is 19 feet tall.
Sure.
Abraham Lincoln.
That is correct. Investigation of this Harding administration scandal began, ending 7 years later when Interior Secretary Albert Fall was sentenced to a year in jail for receiving a bribe in connection with oil leases.
What was the name of it? You didn't know what happened.
Corrupt cabinet.
Teapot Dome. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. This area, the site of filming for the movie Jaws, has a nearly extinct deaf sign language named for it. Inhabited by the Wampanoag Indians in Pilgrim days, what Massachusetts island is thought to be named partly for the grapes?
Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard is the correct answer. Your bonus is math questions. Pencils and paper ready. Dividing the polynomial x to the fourth plus x cubed minus 61x squared minus 109x plus 168 by the quantity x minus 8 leaves the result x cubed plus ax squared plus bx plus c. Give the values of first b,
Time.
the answer is 11. And now for value for C.
Is that what the order was? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna do that one. 88. Negative 20. Negative 21.
Negative 21 is the correct answer. Our next toss-up is a literature question. A character in this book is called only the Patient and has his Christianity constantly attacked by a young tempter who regularly receives advice from the book's title character, a bureaucrat in the lowerarchy of hell. Identify this book by C.S. Lewis, whose title devil writes a series of epistles to his nephew, the young devil named Wormwood.
The Magician.
That is incorrect. Nice, Phil.
Time.
Time up there. The answer was the Screwtape Letters. Next toss-up is a miscellaneous question. This athlete of Laotian descent plans to attend Auburn University for the 2021-22 school year, where she has a scholarship to keep doing what she did through 2021. Name this gymnast who finished second to Simone Biles at the 2021 U.S. Olympic trials and then won the all-around gold medal in Tokyo after Biles withdrew.
Time.
Answer is Sunisa Lee. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. This position was once considered a stepping stone to the presidency, as 5 of the first 8 U.S. presidents held this position first. But since Martin Van Buren in 1831, only James Buchanan has become president after holding this post, a point weighing against Hillary Clinton when she ran for president.
Secretary of State.
That's the correct answer. Your bonuses are on literature. Name the Asian American authors of these novels. Of Chinese ancestry, she wrote The Joy Luck Club.
It's the same one who wrote Crazy Rich Asians. I don't know.
No answer.
Amy Tan. He wrote the novel Crazy Rich Asians, later made into a movie about a Chinese American woman who discovers her boyfriend's family in Singapore is very well off.
No answer.
Kevin Kwan. Our next toss-up is a science question. Pencil and paper ready. The power dissipated by a resistor in watts is the square of the voltage across it divided by the resistance value. Calculate the power dissipated by a 100 ohm resistor when it has a 10 volt battery across it.
One watt.
1 watt is the correct answer. Your bonuses are on social studies. In July 2021, the U.S. government sold the only existing copy of a record album once owned by a convicted felon named Martin Shkreli. Shkreli was already in trouble with the law before buying Daraprim, a drug used to treat toxoplasmosis often caused by this deadly disease.
Cancer.
AIDS. The album was made by this hip-hop group, whose original members included GZA and Method Man.
Defer to John.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan is the correct answer. Our next toss-up is a fine arts question. The most famous music for this dance comes from Offenbach's operetta Orpheus in the Underworld. When this dance became popular in Paris in the mid-1800s, its female dancers could kick high enough to remove a man's hat, also giving the spectators a look at their underwear.
The can-can?
Can-can is the correct answer. Your bonuses are on literature. This story ends with the three farmers, Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, still waiting for its title character to come out of his hole. Name this story about a clever carnivore who keeps taking the farmer's chickens.
Fox. The fox, yeah.
The Fox.
I'm sorry, it's The Fantastic Mr. Fox. And name the story's Welsh author.
No answer.
The answer is Roald Dahl. Our next toss-up is a social studies question. 60 years before this company was sold as part of America's first leveraged buyout, it was begun by a teenager named Otto who poisoned rats. Ironically, this company sponsors an insect zoo within the Smithsonian, one of the few places where insects are safe with this firm on the job. Name this pest control company with a red diamond logo whose main...
Orkin.
Orkin is the correct answer. Your bonuses are science questions. Give the adjectives for these fins on a fish. The one on its back, which is pretty scary if it's a shark's.
It's a dorsal.
Dorsal fin.
Dorsal fin is correct. The pair of fins near what would be its chest area. That would be the pectoral fins. Our next toss-up is a science question. The test for this parameter measures, in minutes per inch of water, the speed at which water is absorbed by soil. Webster definitions for this word include gradually spreading and causing a solvent to pass through a permeable substance, especially for extracting a soluble constituent. Give this term, starting with P, that describes how coffee is made when boiling water is moved through a pile of coffee beans.
Permeation.
That's incorrect. Choctaw.
Penetrate.
Percolation. Our next toss-up is a literature question. Wikipedia says that one of this novel's main themes is the perils of technology, as shown by a computer that kills people who interfere with its mission. One of this novel's main object is a monolith that seems to bestow great knowledge, as when the astronaut Bowman is pulled in by the monolith and becomes a star child. Name this novel by Arthur C. Clarke, set in the very early part of the 21st century.
The Martian.
That is incorrect.
iRobot.
2001, A Space Odyssey.
That's what I was thinking.
Our next toss-up is a math question. Pencils and paper ready. 2 answers are needed. If B is the number of 2-point baskets made, and T is the number of 1-point free throws made, give the values of B and T for a set of 35 made baskets worth 51 points. The answer is B is 16, T is 19.
That is match time.
And that is the end of the match. We'll take a quick break, total up the final scores, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We have a final score today of Choctaw 40 points, Niceville High School 200 points. Thank you to all the students who participated in today's match, and thank you viewers for tuning in for this exciting action. We'd also like to thank our corporate sponsors, Microsystems Incorporated and 98 Barbecue. Tune in again next time for further tournament action. Good night.